tell me a little bit about you.
My name is Alex Wheeler, and I am the head baseball coach at Lebanon High School.
First year, right?
Yep. First year here. I did 3 years as an assistant at Stockton High School, and then I did 2 years as a head coach at East Newton, and then this is my first year at Lebanon.
We're glad to have you. Before we get any further, though, something new in your life.
Yes.
It's new because it's not your first child, but second.
Yep.
And just born, 8-10 days ago, something like that?
I should know the answer to this. Yes.
Hey, that's fair. Mama will be watching, I'm sure, and we'll make sure you know after today how many days old she is. Right? He. Boy or girl? She. Two girls.
Emerson Lee.
Emerson Lee?
Yep.
And the other one's name?
Ada James.
Emerson Lee. What's the story behind the names?
My middle name is James, and then Lee comes from Haley's side of the family. Her grandpa.
Haley, your wife?
Yes.
She just took a new job too, right?
She did. Yes, I've gotten a lot of questions about that.
I got you. Hey, no judgment. We're happy for her. That's her first head coaching role, right?
No, she was the head coach of Diamond for the last 2 years, and then an assistant here. Right. And before that, man, she's been at Fairgrove. She's been at Stockton.
Okay.
She's had a very successful head coaching career up to this point. I believe 2 years. She's won 55 games and 2 district championships. Good for her.
That's awesome. Let's get a little backstory. How'd you meet?
Through a mutual friend.
Okay. College, high school?
Well, she was out of college.
Because you like the older women.
She's actually younger than me. I took a couple victory laps in college.
Okay, fair.
Changed my major a couple times, and it took me 6 years.
Okay,
and then, so she was already teaching at the time at Fairgrove, and then I had been friends with a guy from Fairgrove, and then we met through Ty.
Gotcha. Yeah. So we got Ty to thank. Big shout out to Ty. Do we want to say his last name in case he's watching?
Ty Lumley.
Ty Lumley. Ty, look what you created, man. Congratulations to Ty and to you and Haley. It's awesome. Have you fully embraced the girl dad role?
Yeah, it's awesome. It's the best.
It's pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
We talked a little bit earlier. You said you're just now getting into Disney movies.
Yep.
I was a little surprised, though, because you said you're in the Tarzan era right now.
We are watching Tarzan about 3 times a day. Yeah. When she gets hooked on something, she's with it for a while.
Any ideas where did Tarzan? Did she see a picture? Was it like the next one that played in a line of movies or what?
I'm wondering if it was that because she was on Jungle Book and Jungle Book 2 and the live action Jungle Book for probably a month.
Okay.
And then randomly she started watching Toy Story for about a week. And then just all of a sudden she started watching Tarzan.
The algorithm kicked in and was like, let's go back. Yeah. We got some good watch time on that. Let's see what this does. Yeah. I got you. You said she pounds her chest and does it all, huh?
Yeah, she's pretty animated.
That's cool. And how old is she?
She's 20 months.
20 months. So you guys, let's see, took the job in late spring of last year, early summer.
May.
Yeah. And then, got through summer, probably a little bit of transition, getting moved here, doing all that stuff, right?
It was pretty hectic. We probably found an apartment and moved in within less than 2 weeks. We kind of just took the first apartment we've been, but it's great. They're brand new. And then, I had my first summer baseball off-season workout, less than a week after that.
Right. Been gung-ho ever since?
Yep.
Gotcha. Welcome to Jacket Talk. Ramsey Stewart, Jacket Nation Sports. Quick shout out. We've got some amazing sponsors who make interviews like this possible. Heritage Bank of the Ozarks, Mercy Hospital Lebanon, and Missouri Cooperage. Be sure if you see those folks out and about in the community, give them a big thank you. We're pretty proud of the fact that we get the opportunity to sit down one-on-one myself. Normally it's myself and some students, but in this case, coaches. I think we've ran the gamut now of all the current coaches and got to do something like this. And before we got started, you said this is all new to you. You're not techie. Like,
it's very foreign.
Have you ever done anything on camera like this?
No.
So is this the point where we warn you now that after baseball games that we stream, you got to come up in the press box?
So that had kind of been mentioned when they offered me the job. They were like, just so you know, like after games, you know, it's kind of a expectation.
Well, good news. After games, you get to talk to Kevin. And Kevin, not me, Kevin's the guy that knows the X's and O's, the history, all of the things. So it'll be a much more formal, much more baseball-esque interview rather than what you're going to get with me, because I'm fortunate we get to do this, and it's really cool to sit down and kind of learn a little bit about you and your coaching style. I don't want to get too much into X's and O's and things like that, or season previews. We'll have you back on with Kevin to kind of talk about that. But why coaching? What's your why?
Well, oh man.
Yeah.
Okay. So my why really kind of comes down to my faith, really.
Okay.
You know, I feel like God didn't give me a lot of skills, but he made me very passionate about one thing in my life, and that's baseball. And if I can use that skill to help build stronger men and be a positive influence in somebody's life, I think that's my calling. I think that's my purpose.
Gotcha. Do you, when did it kind of come on? Like at what point were you like, all right, baseball, specifically high school, or if you have goals of other things? But
yeah, I mean, I think my whole life, this is all I've ever wanted to be a part of, you know?
Did you start to realize it and figure out, like, were you the guy on the team that was clearly the leader, or were you a guy on the team that was like the organizer? Like, how'd that work? I
think I've been probably every role ever in my playing career. I do think that I've always been a student of the game. So, you know, I've never been one that just went out and played. Like, I watch baseball and I study the game, and I want to have whatever edge I can. And I've been like that since I was 10 years old.
Gotcha. Well, I'll get into it then real quick. Watching the game, learning the game. Not a big baseball guy. I'll watch some baseball. I'll go to a baseball game. Something new this year in the majors, and we'll see it eventually funnel down. It'll be a while before we get it in the high school ranks, but this new virtual strike zone, like, as a probably a baseball purist, like, are you excited for this, or you think it's taken away from the game a little bit?
So, I mean, I guess there's really two thoughts there, right? Is it more fair? Probably, because we'd know whether the ball went over the plate or not. I was a catcher my whole life. Okay. My job was to steal strikes, pitches that were not over the plate.
You were framing it.
And I just feel like we're going to lose that art of, some of the best catchers in the world right now that are able to manipulate the umpire's brain into thinking that it's a strike when it's not. That stuff is really exciting to me. I love those complexities of the game.
Right.
And unfortunately, I think that if they go to an all automated balls and strikes format where there's just no home plate umpire, the position itself will change forever. You're just going to have guys that can throw 95 miles an hour down to second base, and they don't have to stick well at all. They don't have to really, they probably will still need to block.
Right.
But in terms of like receiving, there's no use for it. Right. If it's all automated.
So, real quick, we'll kind of move on, but I do have, as a baseball purist, as someone who studies it, would you rather study balls and strikes or home runs?
What do you mean by that?
Like, are you a bigger fan of offense or defense?
Oh, I think my comfort zone for sure is defensive baseball. I mean, I grew up, my whole family's Cardinal fans, and I grew up in, I guess, a little different era. I grew up with Albert Pujols, watching them, and that's an offensive group, right? Him and Roland and Edmonds. But I remember being taught, the Cardinal rules of baseball, the Cardinal way, and them talking about Whitey ball and all the small ball that used to happen in the Cardinals organization, and how good a defender Ozzie Smith was. So, like, I think I just grew up in a house that valued defensive baseball. My comfort zone is 3-2 games, 2-1 games.
Yeah,
I think
you like that stuff.
Exciting.
I gotcha. I was going to ask a second ago and I forgot, but you mentioned framing the pitches and manipulating the umpires. As a player, do you have like a vivid memory of changing an umpire's mind as a catcher?
I have a vivid memory of so part of your job as a catcher, right, is to build relationships with the umpires.
Mm-hmm.
So some of these guys you'll have a lot of times over the course of the years, especially like I was at a smaller school. So I started varsity for my freshman year.
Right.
And I would have them all summers too, the same umpires behind the plate. So after a while, we've worked together for 3 or 4 years now. I remember a summer going into my senior year. Won't name his name, but I did have an umpire that was like, Alex, it is 102 degrees outside. You just tell me if it's a strike or not. He said, if you stick it and like, I'll trust you that you're going to be fair about it. Right.
Right. But
catch it between your shoulders and you stick it, I'm just going to call it a strike.
And define stick it. Like what, like if I'm watching this and I'm zero baseball knowledge from a mom or a dad and they got a young kid that's got some interest in baseball, define stick it.
So, I mean, I guess just being firm with your catch. Now,
commanding.
The game has changed so much. Like the way that I was taught to frame or receive or stick, however you want to say it, is not the way that I would teach now.
Right.
And catchers are better now than what they were when I was playing, and it'll just keep evolving. But that's kind of the gist of it, being able to not be bullied by the pitch. So if the ball hits your mitt and it takes your mitt with you, that would not be good. You want to be firm and be able to stick it in between your shoulders. Typically, that's a good gauge for umpires, right? And that's why we teach our catchers to subtly, kind of sway their lower half when the pitch is coming, because mentally, the umpire, when he sees the ball being caught in between the shoulders, I mean, they're all human,
sense. Right?
They make mistakes, and that's what our job is to do, is manipulate and make them make mistakes,
or tell them when they make mistakes.
Yeah,
we won't get into that too much. So you kind of touched on it. So let's dive a little bit more. Like, you graduated high school when?
2016.
2016. So 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Are you going to your 10-year reunion this year or what?
I don't know.
You know, it depends on baseball.
What's going on.
Depends on baseball. Gotcha. What have you seen change in high school baseball specifically in that 10 years?
So from a development standpoint, a lot has changed. The way that people do things is, and like, it doesn't feel like that long ago, but in baseball years, it's a lot has gone on. The way that we hit is different. The way that we, train our pitchers is different. You got a lot more guys with velo nowadays. The way that we teach our catchers to do things is all different. I do think that there's a bigger emphasis in the baseball world, for a good thing, on strength training.
Right.
Like, 20 years ago, there were baseball coaches that were like very anti lifting weights.
Right.
I don't think that you find that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I think everybody at least sees some benefit in it, but I think majority of baseball coaches are on the train of, we want our guys big and strong. We want them to be able to throw hard and hit the ball a long ways.
Right. Well, I think it just maybe it has 20 years ago, 30 years ago, fundamentals were keeping the ball between your legs, catching it with two hands, eye on the ball, like all the simple things that I was taught growing up, that you were taught growing up, that your dad was taught growing up. But like you mentioned, like the strength training and that sort of thing, it's now a fundamental.
Yes. You're behind if you're not.
Right. And so seeing that evolution, and at some point, like the equipment is the equipment. Obviously, a glove is a glove. Like we're not changing baseball gloves, maybe size, maybe a little bit of the weight or something like that, or a different material. The bats are changing, but even those are getting to a point where they've throttled back a little bit of that safety wise. But all of those fundamentals now you add, I think it's, for my eyes anyways, it's similar to the internet in that 30 years ago, if you had internet at home, it was a luxury. Now it's a necessity to have internet at home. It's just like your electric bill. It's just like your trash bill. Like if you don't have internet, you're missing out. It's a fundamental of surviving in this world. And like you said, with baseball and that strength training and that, how have you seen, like, can you give me an example specifically of strength training and an improvement in a player or something along those lines?
I mean, rotational strength for sure will increase your velo and increase,
And when you say velo, you mean velocity, right?
Velocity, yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Sorry
That's
about
all
that.
right.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm learning too, because like you can dive down a whole like analytical baseball rabbit hole, and I know the kids love it too because there's like velo and there's exit velocity on hits and all sorts of stuff. So,
well, and I even think about like this is not necessarily strength training, but most of the articles that come out now, actually virtually all of them say that it's incredibly hard once you have the mechanics of throwing down to gain velocity while losing weight.
Okay.
Near impossible.
Okay.
As long as your mechanics are good,
right.
So if your mechanics stay the same, you really want to get big and strong.
Right.
I think most baseball coaches are on that train right now.
Well, and that seems like definitely a trend upward in that regard. You mentioned it, and like, I wasn't a baseball player, so I can't speak to it specifically, but like, I think it was an afterthought, but I also came from a time where like, I remember 6th, 7th grade, you saw the high school kids and they were working out and strength training, and you didn't really think about it as a 5th, 6th grader, 7th grader.
Yeah.
And now, like, we're at all these events and watching all these kids, and fortunately, I have a best friend that handles a lot of that stuff too. And, it is 5th, 6th, 7th graders who are adding that fundamental in and finding ways. There's parents that are finding ways to make it possible and make it happen, but you're seeing it, and we're seeing it across the growth of these kids and the programs and the things that are happening. So it's really cool to see. One thing you talked about a second ago, I want to go back before I forget it. You want to be an influence. You want to be a leader. You want to change young men's lives through that. Like, how do you do that as a coach? Like, what's kind of your thesis or you
have to find a happy medium between celebrating the kids and holding them accountable. Fortunately, I'm in this seat, right? But with that comes the responsibility of I do have to sometimes be the guy that is telling you the things you don't want to hear.
Right.
And that is not fun, but it's necessary to run the most efficient program that we can. And I think most players, the older they get, the more they come to respect that, and the more they realize that was a good thing in their development as a person.
Right.
To have those conversations and build that character and have those experiences. And then, on the celebration side, we do our best to any chance we get. We play the most humbling game. You could do everything right 4 times at the plate and still get out all 4 times. You hit 4 line drives right at the center fielder,
Right.
100 miles an hour.
Head
It's
down.
not that you didn't have a good, plate appearance. Not that you didn't have a good at bat. It's that the ball was hit right at center fielder. And that's kind of a great metaphor for life, right? That doesn't mean you stop hitting the ball hard.
Right.
Right. Sorry, I just kind of got off on a rant.
No, you're all right. But it makes sense. And I think what you were kind of getting at is like the experiences, the things that happen. I think we get lost. I'll go on a rant here. Like I watch people be fans of different teams, sports, all of that. And they'll be frustrated when we'll use baseball, for example. A guy goes 0 for 3 and lines out to the shortstop every time. The shortstop was trying to make a play too. Like the other team was on the field and being coached, and like they're trying to do what they're supposed to do.
I just remember so basically in a game where you can do everything right and still get out, we as coaches and our coaching staff, we have to take every every chance we get to celebrate our kids,
right?
And celebrate the process rather than the execution. If a kid hits a ball hard, we want to celebrate it no matter what the result.
Right. Well, I think Dr. Brown talked a little bit about that. Like if you're looking at kid comes up to the plate, 0-0 count, like there's a baby step in there of hitting the ball, like actually making contact, ignoring balls and strikes or whatever. But like if you attempt to swing the bat, one is make contact. Obviously, you want to make good contact, but there's still that baby step, and step 2 doesn't happen without step 1. So I appreciate kind of your take on this and how we're seeing it, because I think as fans, maybe as parents, mom and dad, whatever, like we want our child or our children or our favorite athlete to hit a home run every swing. It's not possible.
No.
I mean, especially you're playing a sport where if you hit the ball 3 out of 10 times, you're considered really good at what you do. Like, but if I do 3 out of 10 interviews and only 3 are good, I'm not very good at what I do. But and I think we lose track of that. So as a coach, it's cool to see that the focus is on not a participation trophy, not a pat on the back because you got up there and swung the bat, but it's like, okay, next time, like you hit it, you went to center field. Next time, remember when the pitcher did this? Let's be a little bit earlier. We'll find that gap in left center or whatever, right?
Yeah.
What's your motto as a coach? Like, how do you kind of approach every day?
So we have 4 core values that for our team. And there are 4 things that we try to emphasize every single day that are going to carry us throughout the year. And it's trust, love, compete, and gratitude. So the first one being trust. That really starts off on a personal level, for each individual player. What we do is an exclusive club, right? Mm-hmm. We make cuts. You've got to be pretty good to play baseball at Lebanon. So we want our guys being confident, knowing that and trusting that what they've done up to this point in their preparation, they've done a good job preparing. And if we put them on the field, knowing that we trust them to get the job done,
right?
We wouldn't put them out there otherwise.
Right. So the trust goes both ways is what you're saying.
Oh, yeah. Well, we want our players to trust themselves, right, in that aspect, and play with confidence, play freely. We want our players to trust each other, right? If I'm on the mound, I'm not going to strike out 21 guys the majority of the time.
Right.
99.9% of the time.
Right.
But I have to throw the ball over the plate with complete trust that the guys behind me are going to make plays, with complete trust that the coaching staff has scouted well enough that we are going to shift our infield and our outfield in places that put us in a good position to make the plays. And then lastly, we want our players to trust our coaching staff. This isn't a one-man show. Like, I have the best assistants around. Austin Knight is probably one of the best baseball players to ever come through here. He's our pitching coach. Holton Simmons, Dalton Rawlings are working with our infield. Cody Kimes with the outfield. They're all guys that are very knowledgeable and love Lebanon baseball.
Yeah, they're bought in.
We gotta trust. Our kids have to trust that they are, because every day we'll have a period of time where I'm going to be working with catchers. So the other positions are being coached by other coaches.
Right.
And they're in charge of those. They make the practice plans for that portion of the day.
So you're trusting, you're not only
I trust
asking,
them fully. There's a lot of delegation there. Because like I said, they're very knowledgeable and they love Lebanon baseball and they love the boys. I know that they want what's best for them, and we need our players to trust that they and myself are going to do everything in our power to put them in the best position possible. But I'll move on.
But I want to recap that though. That first word, trust, that's from the top of the funnel, yourself.
Yes.
To the bottom of the funnel, the freshman that's made the team and has a role, right? Everybody's
Absolutely.
held accountable.
Yeah, absolutely. That goes for us as well, right? We are trusting that when we put a guy on the field, that they are prepared to play and they are prepared to execute. We do a lot of our coaching and accountability in practice. And when it comes to the game, that is our time as coaches to kind of step away a little bit. Not that we're not coaching, we're not strategizing.
Right.
We're doing that. We're trying to give them an edge. But, I can't sit there every single pitch while a kid's pitching and be like, all right, you're doing this wrong. Now you're doing this wrong. Let them play the game. Let them play free.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it gets lost in that the game is the fun part.
Yeah.
The practice is the work. Practice is the grind. Like that's when,
that's where we get better.
Friday nights or Thursday afternoons or, at the Boswell Auditorium or Ole Scott Field, like that's when it's supposed to be fun, when your friends and your family are there and it's a showcase every time you get to actually play the game.
Absolutely.
And make it fun. But going back to you trust the preparation from, end of season to beginning of, the opening pitch. It's all about trusting that the process, and we hear the word process a lot, but it's there. So what was next?
Love, right? So I feel like I could talk about this one for a while, but I'll try to condense it as much as I can. Basically, when you play the game with love, first off, there's got to be passion there. We love playing baseball. If you're playing baseball for any other reason other than you enjoy it, you're probably in it for the wrong reasons.
Right.
Love the game. And I do believe, man, we've got a lot of kids that love baseball in Lebanon. There are a lot of people that down in our youth program as well. I'm very fortunate to be in a town that loves the game. So I'm excited about that. But also, playing with love is very sacrificial, right? And that's sort of our motto this year is sacrifice. It was stolen from I believe it was the U.S. military's definition is surrendering something prized for a greater good.
Okay.
And sometimes playing the game, you have to sacrifice something prized, which is maybe comfort. Mm-hmm. That may be, sacrificing time that you could be hanging out with your buddies when you're staying late to hit an extra 50 balls off the tee. And to me, that is playing with love. That is, having love in your heart as a part of a team, as a member of Lebanon Baseball.
Right.
And then I think lastly, I think most people would say that when you love someone, you would put them before yourself. It's the same as a teammate, right? If you're playing the game with love, you get more excited or as excited or more excited when someone else succeeds than you do your own.
Right.
And we bring the energy every day, and we love to see each other succeed. And we love, if I have a bad at bat and I'm in the dugout, I'm not over there pouting.
Right.
I'm engaged in the game still. And I'm excited that the next guy just took a good cut off a swing, and got on base. That, to me, that's playing with love.
I think in football, you don't get to see it because they're kind of far. Basketball or even volleyball, like you start to see it. And I think baseball was kind of maybe the first, and this is off the cuff here, but what you were saying kind of made me like, baseball is weird because there's that chant, that communication, like you got a guy up on deck, you got a guy at the plate, but you got the dugout. And like in basketball, you're seeing it more where the benches are becoming the sixth man. And in baseball, it's always kind of been a thing, but it was never really talked about, I don't think, as much. But I think it kind of goes back to what you're saying. I don't know. Maybe I'm weird there, but I see it.
No, I see what you're saying. I'll add one more thing to that. Just the playing with love. It's also just very selfless. And that's what we want to preach to our kids every day, is just being selfless. And that goes for not just baseball, but just as a human being. And, unfortunately we do live in a world that pushes selfishness.
A me attitude. Yeah.
And we want to be counter to that, right? We want our guys to grow up being selfless, and, hopefully being a part of our program will help grow that part of their lives.
Gotcha. All right. So we got trust, love,
compete. The third one is compete, and it's very simple. No matter the score, no matter the circumstance, do your best. Right. If it's 20 degrees outside and it's howling winds, do your best. It's cold for everybody.
It's miserable baseball weather. It's miserable.
If the score is, it's a 1-run game, it's tied, it's a 10-run game, either direction, do your best. It really is that simple. We want to roll with guys that are always giving their best. That's our standard.
Okay. And the final one?
Gratitude. When you're grateful for something, you take care of it. And we want, at the end of the day, we hope that every single player in our program, when they graduate, they say, thank God that I grew up in Lebanon.
Right.
And I got to experience this. Hopefully they take the time on a day-to-day basis to be grateful for what they have. And it's very easy to be like, we don't have this, we don't have that. Be grateful for what we got and take care of it. There's just unfortunately, just the world we live in, it's very, like you said, selfish, entitled, and we're pushing the opposite. We want our guys to have that sense of pride being in Lebanon, that sense of like, we're blue collar and this is how we do things, and just be, again, extremely grateful that I'm a Yellowjacket. I wouldn't have it any other way. That kind of attitude.
Grateful for the opportunities, not being so focused on keeping up with the Joneses, whatever the keeping up with the Joneses might be, whether it's fancy cleats or the best bat or cool hats. Like, these kids have opportunities that other kids don't have, and just to take advantage of that and kind of keep that momentum going. With that being said, trust, love, compete, and gratitude, like, how did that kind of come about? You mentioned the military thing earlier, but like, who as a coach have you looked up to, or who kind of molded you?
And I have been extremely fortunate to play for a lot of good coaches and coach under a lot of good coaches. Oh man, I'm going to leave somebody out, but
they were all good.
I played for Darren Henderson, who is the head baseball coach at Stockton, and then I coached with him. I just learned a ton about how a head coach is supposed to operate behind the scenes in terms of their work ethic. I mean, that guy scouts really hard. He does everything he can to make sure that his players have an edge and have an advantage before the game ever starts. And he's also a fantastic person.
Right.
And then I think, when I started off as a basketball coach.
Okay.
I didn't say that earlier. My original gig that I took was a assistant boys basketball. I did that for 3 years. I did 2 years as assistant softball, and then I got over to baseball as quickly as I could to be with Darren. But I got to coach under a couple guys at Stockton basketball that I really respect, and I thought they did a really good job of handling emotions, and I learned a lot in that aspect. And then whenever I was at East Newton, a really good friend of mine and the head basketball coach there, Kyle Fields, I got to be an assistant under him for a year. And I think that was the year that and luckily it was my first year as a head coach, I truly learned the balance, or like how to hold kids to the highest standard while still loving them. And that guy, he gets after it, and his players would run through a brick wall for him any day. They would do whatever for him. But there's that mutual respect. He's going to fight for you.
Right.
He demands a lot out of you, but he's going to fight for you.
How do you think that's handled, or how do you do that as a coach? Like, what do you think this age group or this wave of student athlete now, like, do you think, I feel like they're understanding that better? What do you think you could attribute that to? Because the only experiences I have are the experiences I have. Yeah. So I can't, we can watch and we can see growth among athletes or teenagers, or, you can paint with a broad brush or whatever. But I feel like, we constantly see kids are bad. Kids aren't locked in. Kids aren't paying attention. They're rather do their other things. But yet, look at baseball. Look at the off season, and you've had kids that love to be there. They've shown up when you've asked them to. They've probably shown up when you didn't ask them to. There's been probably some that don't show up when you ask them to, but it's not because they're lazy. It's because they have something. They're busy. Kids are busy. Yeah. We talk all about parents being busy or adults, and life is busy, but like, these kids are doing the same things, just at the scale of being kids rather than being a 30-year-old adult with parent or with kids and wives and all that. But do you see it kind of moving and kids understanding it a little bit better? And what do you think I
think that, it all just comes down to how you build your culture. And I think that, again, I worked under a guy that I really respect, and he once told me before practice, he's like, we're gonna run the guys for this thing. And I remember being like, it seems kind of petty. It doesn't seem like that big of a deal. And he was like, what we allow is what we promote. And, if we don't say anything about it, it's as good as us saying, great job.
Right.
So it's just holding kids to the standard that is our standard. What are our non-negotiables, and this is how we operate on a day-to-day basis. This is the things that we do. And I think over time, right, it's always hard. The first years are just always hard.
Right.
I'm new. They don't know me. I don't know them real well yet. It's going to be an adjustment, but I think over time, people start to understand, oh, this is how we do things. And, I just think it all comes down to culture, like how you operate as a program.
Gotcha. Can you define the Lebanon baseball culture?
Hopefully blue collar, right? We want to come in and outwork everybody. And we are, I say this to my guys all the time. We want to be the best at boring.
The best at boring.
The best at boring. All the boring parts of the game, that nobody wants to work on, but they win baseball games. We want to be the best at it. Like
field and
just your
grounders,
fundamental baseball, right?
Right.
Can you feel the ground ball and throw it to first base? You know, can you catch a routine fly ball? Yeah. Is it boring? Yeah. If you're the best at it, you got a good chance of winning.
Right.
You know, are you good in advantage counts? Meaning, you know, when we're 1-0, 2-0, 2-1s, you know, are you disciplined enough I can look for something, and when I get it, I'm going to execute. And when I don't get it, I'm able to lay off, even if it's a strike. Cause like I was already ahead in the count. You know, we want to be really good in advantage counts. We want to scrap, with 2 strikes and put the ball in play at a high level with 2 strikes. You know, at the end of the day, it's high school baseball. So you put the ball in play, you're going to have a chance to get on. Now, different approach for different counts, right? Advantage counts, we want to do damage. We want to hit doubles, home runs. But later in the count, we're wanting to put the ball in play. Those like very boring things, they win baseball games.
And they compound.
Yeah.
I mean, 1 turns into 2, 2 turns into 4. It builds culture. Kids see others doing it. And I think it can, we're kind of seeing some of that in the things that we're doing. We talked a little bit about it earlier, but like the kids are starting to understand where we're at and what we're doing and how we're leveling up, and we're seeing them level up in different things. I mean, Malachi, baseball player, I know is excited to get started, but like watching him kind of do it. But I know we also got to see that he would go to baseball workouts and things like that. And kind of, we've gotten to see the backside of an athlete out of season, but still pretty much in season, but also involved. And he's talked about a lot of what you're talking about now. But I think too often we just probably stereotype these kids and we don't give them a fair shake, and we don't think they care about that stuff, but maybe kids now just don't talk about it. Like it's in their, I hate to use the word ingrained because it sounds indoctrinated or whatever, but like if a kid's going to 3 or 4 baseball workouts a week and he's hearing the same message, he doesn't have to come out and say, I got to do the little things. It's becoming second nature.
Exactly. That's what we're hoping.
Right. But their friends are feeding off of it. You get that leader that they watch take that extra ground ball or use 2 hands or, you know, step up in the batter's box and don't swing at that 3-0 count fastball down the middle because they're, again, being good at being boring or best at being boring. So it's a unique dynamic that we get to witness, but we also get to see the coaches. Like when we come in and you have these conversations and we talk about it, we get to see the outcome and we get to see the process. So it's not weird. We're grateful, but it's something that doesn't get talked about enough, I think, and we're fortunate. And we know it's working, if that makes sense, regardless of the sport. We've seen it across. And I think for me personally, it's just, I want to see these kids. I want people to understand better what the kids go through on a day-to-day basis in the sports. And I want parents to understand the coaches. And like I said before, like if my son or daughter plays baseball, like I want parents to know, or myself to know, who's around their kid all the time. How are they teaching them? What are they bringing home? How are they using those experiences in Wednesday evening, spring, winter baseball practice? How are they using it at home? How are they using it with their friends, their teachers, off the field or off the court? So it's cool to see it kind of come full circle. I don't even know where I was going with that, but I do want to have some baseball discussions with you real quick, and we'll wrap up. Best baseball player ever.
Oof.
And why is it not Barry Bonds?
Why is it not Barry? I don't know. There's too many good baseball players, and it's always really hard to compare different eras.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because like I said, like just in 10 years, high school baseball is completely different than what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Professional baseball, when people try to compare like Ohtani and Babe Ruth, I mean, it's just two completely different games, but it's also,
different. But it's the same.
Yeah, it's like
the ball is still the same size. The pitcher's still throwing it, and there's still an umpire calling balls and strikes. Like, it's still the same, but you didn't answer my question. I'm not letting you get off easy.
I think I grew up as my favorite player was Yadier Molina. I was a Cardinals fan. I was a catcher, and he was a stud.
Is he the greatest catcher of all time? Can you be unbiased?
I don't think I could be unbiased. I think that I don't know. I want him to be the best defensive catcher. Obviously, he's not the best hitter. He wasn't.
He got better as he aged.
He did. I mean, he got better, but he still was never he was never great. He
batted like what, 280?
Oh, I would venture to say he was career 230, 240 hitter.
Oh, really?
Career.
Okay.
I'm sure his better years. He's
a little recency bias because he did make leaps and bounds improvements from, young Yachty to seasoned veteran Yachty.
Well, I think his rookie year he hit like 150.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
That's bad. Okay, so if it can't be a Cardinal, I'm going to get a best player of all. Who's the baseball GOAT? Take all the factors out of it.
I think so. Again, it's kind of hard to compare pitchers and position players. I think probably the best pitcher ever was Nolan Ryan, just statistically and whatnot. Mm-hmm. I think maybe the most electric and most fun to watch was Randy Johnson during his prime.
That bird, it's still that bird thing.
I think that there's an argument to be made for, as a position player during his best years, A-Rod was, he was wild. Albert Pujols, probably the best you said not to name a Cardinal, but I'm going to. But probably the best right-handed hitter, at least the stretch of his first 10 years is I think all of his first 10 years as a big leaguer, he hit 300, hit 30 home runs, and had over 100 RBIs. I mean, I don't know that anybody's ever done that besides him, especially in the first 10 years. I mean, as a rookie as well. He's probably, again, I might be biased here, probably the best right-handed hitter.
Just and kind of a unnatural swing, but natural. He didn't.
It's funny,
he didn't have that look.
It's funny how, just how baseball works, right? At the time, probably nobody was really hitting like him stance wise, right?
Right.
But then everybody wanted to hit like Pujols,
right?
And then that never changes. I mean, now everybody wants to hit, when I was in high school, it was Josh Donaldson because he kind of came out of nowhere. He was a very subpar hitter, and then maybe he got a different personal hitting coach over an off season and converted into an infielder, and then just randomly one year hits 50 home runs. Well, then everybody's he must have the secret to hitting.
Yeah, let's
everybody's trying to hit like Josh Donaldson. But yeah, that was just interesting to me. Everybody.
I think if I had to answer, and I can't answer because unfortunately injuries, but I would have loved to seen full run Ken Griffey Jr.
Yeah. I was going to say left-handed hitter. He's mine.
So his swing, and let's be honest though, it probably helped that his swing was his logo. So you saw a lot more of his swing, but
he was cool.
And him, or even and Mike Piazza wasn't the greatest player ever, but a very, very good baseball player. But he had that fully, to me, watching baseball as a kid, he had that complete swing. He didn't let go of it. He followed all the way through. He, the bat would hit his hip on the backswing, So I always kind of went towards Griffey. Ozzie Smith, I got his autograph when I was a little kid and got to meet him, so that was always a pretty cool experience. But taking Cardinal bias out of it, Griffey,
yeah,
if we would have got to see him. And I make the joke about Barry Bonds, and you can side which way you want, PEDs and all that, but like we probably don't give him enough credit, even with his power numbers. But like overall, he probably was right up there. Yeah. I hate to admit it, because again, all we talked about were home run numbers, but I think somebody, shout out to Timmy making this argument, but he won more MVPs than I think, or a lot more MVPs, or is an upper echelon of MVPs that we don't talk about, and we use MVP as a gold standard for overall success. But, and then pitchers. Yeah. Nolan Ryan was good. Like he's probably up there. I liked the Randy Johnson aspect, but I think I remember Nolan because of the Robin Ventura beat down on the mound. So
it's like the coolest video ever.
And it still circulates all the time. Like you still get to see it. What are we doing? Let's see. We've talked to basketball coaches about one example we did was, are you fouling up three? What's a baseball like cheat code that I could ask you? Like I'll let you just describe it, but what's a common baseball debate inside the game strategy wise?
Well, honestly, there's a million voices right now. Part of social media, right, is everybody's an expert on everything, and that makes it really hard to figure out what's good development and what's not, because there's 1,000 different videos all talking about how the other ones don't know what they're doing.
You mean so
luckily I have good mentors that have been in, and like a good friend of mine, Kevin Berge, who's the head coach at Carthage. Like I can message him and Darren, and a pitching coach that I had in college was Sean Markham.
He played at Missouri State, right?
Yeah. And then for the Brewers, he had a good
was on
career.
Missouri State's World Series team, right?
Yep. And sometimes I'll just send them the video and just be like, am I like so far down the YouTube rabbit hole that this just looks good because it's something that I'm not doing?
Right.
Or is this like actually a good drill or a good thing to work on? And it really is about 50-50.
Right.
About 50% of the time they're like, yeah, stop watching YouTube.
Right. But do you find that one nugget within YouTube?
Yeah. I mean, there's good development, and like Twitter baseball is good.
Right. Are you a big analytics guy, or would you call yourself kind of?
Yeah. Yes. Because by definition, analytics is just studying different numbers. Right. Like me and Coach Young actually had a really good conversation about this in the fall. We were talking about, like, I don't really have a problem with the launch angle movement. I'm just like, sort of, they would call me like old school, because I still teach, not that the others don't teach bat path, but I like very much focus on where's our bat path. Are we giving ourselves a good chance to put the ball in play, to get the barrel on it, and less worried about launch angle. But, he brought up the argument. It's just a measurement. And that's so true. Like the launch angle is literally just the angle in which the ball comes off. So nobody's saying like, it's hard to describe. It is like a huge debate within the baseball world, especially like the high school level, because you're not dealing with guys that are playing baseball year round. So what's like the best way to teach baseball players that are, am I making sense? What's the best way to go about coaching players that are only going to have a bat in their hands 5 months, 6 months out of the year?
Well, I think it goes back to that. What you're kind of getting at is like, they're doing other things. And when you have them for baseball, it's baseball. But we're not so focused on launch angles. We're focused on launch.
Yeah. So like my like analytics would be attack angle.
Okay.
Which is the degree in which the bat goes through the zone. So we want it to be like +5 to, we would live with a +20, preferably like somewhere between a +5 and +15. Now, like, so if your bat path is too positive, right, and you're moving like way up,
you're hitting fly balls.
Yeah, or you're flying open. There's just such a small. If this is the plane of the ball, and you're coming upward too much, you're likely you could roll over as well, right? And then the same could be said about if you're too downward, which is too negative. So we try to track our best, who's where, with their attack angle, and then give them like an individual hitting plan based on that. Like, here's some drills that'll get your bat path closer to the middle.
Right.
That's not a knock. That's not like, hey, you're bad or whatever.
Right.
That's let's just make this very small minor adjustment so that you turn in from a 250 hitter to a 300 hitter.
Right. But it's minor, like
yeah,
in the grand scheme of baseball,
really
especially, and you could say it for pitchers or batters, but like that slight little change in that angle can compound in more at bats and more opportunities.
Well, and I haven't got to talk about them enough, but that is really one thing that I enjoy about my coaching staff is that I feel like there's a lot of cohesiveness between us, and we're all very much on the same page of like, we don't need to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
We just need to, we know what is true about this game. And we just need to give these guys who are already invested and they, they are a very committed group. We need to get them as many quality reps as possible.
Right. Give them opportunities.
It really is like, we as a coaching staff believe it. It may just be that simple. I work for that one basketball coach who I'm good friends with. We were having a conversation at the coaching office one day that was, I can't remember the exact way he worded it, but he was like, there's no magic potion for this. It's no secret. You want to run faster? You need to run.
Right.
You want to jump higher? You need to jump.
Hitters hit, shooters shoot.
You want to hit better? You need to hit.
Right.
And us as coaches, we don't need to reinvent their swing. We just need to give them small adjustments that get them closer to being the best versions of themselves.
Right. Well, and there's swing coaches for that. And if they move on to the next level and there's someone that wants to pour into them and they have the resources, like that's when you get the foundation that start. Very few times I'm guessing that a kid walks in and you're like, we're redoing your swing.
No.
Yeah. You're like, hey,
by the time we get them,
right.
You know what I mean? They're old enough that they've been doing this it's such a skill sport, right?
Mm-hmm.
Baseball. Like there's so many skills involved that, require motor functions and whatnot. Like, so, they really have developed enough by the time they get to us that we are, like I said, just trying to make them the best versions of them.
Well, I'm excited. We're a few weeks out. Baseball will be here before you know it. Practice officially starts next week.
Yep, Monday.
You've gotten to know a lot of these kids. Before we run, though, I am going to ask you, give me a quote. Give me something that you kind of live by, maybe, or something. Give me your Notre Dame. We are play like champions.
You really put me on the spot.
Yeah, you got one?
Let me think. So going back to be the best at boring, and it applies to life too, right? Like just showing up to work on time, doing all the things that you can control at the best, highest level, make you the best versions of yourself. So there's a quote that is, do common things in an uncommon way, and you will demand the respect of the world. Okay. And that's George Washington Carver.
Okay.
Just coming in and getting to work.
Right. Showing up.
You don't have to do anything crazy, anything special. Just be the best at what you're doing.
Give your best. Show up.
Mm-hmm.
Best thing. And I think, again, you guys are doing it. Our district has done it. The coaches in our programs are doing it. But giving these kids opportunities to shine however they need to shine, whether it's an academic aspect, an on the court, on the field, off the field. Like we're very fortunate to have you and a lot of the coaches and all of the coaches that we have in this program in this district, and we're excited to have you as baseball and get to kind of understand better how you do things and what you kind of expect out of your program, and hearing you talk about the other coaches. And I know it's been a little, I don't want to use the word different, but you can tell that kids have bought into your process and what you're trying to bring into the program, and I can see the culture kind of building. So I'm excited.
I appreciate it.
It's going to be, this spring's going to be fun. Big shout out to the maintenance crew. They made some improvements to the press box.
Awesome.
And they made some improvements to the field. I saw someone out there the other day playing long toss, and it looked like maybe somebody working on the grass already.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys, shout out to you guys for all the work you put in that. And I know
Coach Knight, head of maintenance.
Yeah.
Or not head of maintenance. Sorry, not head of maintenance. Head of field maintenance.
Head of field maintenance. There's a new concession stand at Ole Scott. That's going to be fun. Coach Pierce always out there working hard over there doing his thing. So it's going to be fun. You mentioned it, and a big shout out. I don't have them all in front of me, but the community been a huge supporter of what you're doing in the baseball program. There's some new sponsorship opportunities that folks came on board. We're going to get to hear some different things from Super Shane in the press box this year, right?
That is true. What do you want me to start with?
I like the taco thing.
Okay, so Taco Bell has agreed to be the official sponsor of Lebanon Baseball third innings.
Right. So
we'll announce it at it's actually just the bottom of the third. So when we make the third out, the top half, Super Shane's going to get on the mic and he's going to say, this is the Lebanon, or this is the Taco Bell Lebanon Baseball third inning. And if any player from Lebanon hits a home run during the bottom of the third, everyone in the stadium gets a coupon for a free taco to Taco Bell.
You're going to adjust your lineup accordingly? Because I want some tacos.
There's been talks about it.
home game has a different
Simmons
look.
was the first one to bring that up.
Holton, he's shout out to him. He's another one of the coaches you mentioned earlier, and he's coming off a freshman basketball campaign, and so he's ready to get started. I know he eats and breathes baseball, so I know he's excited for that. But Coach, we appreciate you. We are looking forward to it. We're going to be around quite a bit. Hopefully you don't mind some of our crazy ideas and things I got rolling around here.
Don't mind at all.
Maybe even a little bit of a dugout cam. That's kind of one thing I've been wanting to play around with. No audio, though. We'll keep the audio off. We'll just have just the cam. I'm excited. We last year we got to preview replay with a baseball play that we redid. We specifically filmed a baseball game to pull a replay, knowing we were coming with replay.
I actually scouted that game.
Okay.
So I was like, dude, this school's got replay. What's going on?
Yeah, we're excited. We got to adjust how we do cameras a little bit. And it turns out in all these groups that we're in, baseball is a very difficult thing to get that next level because of the way the fields work and the angle that you have to have from behind home plate to try to get as much as possible. But we got some new technology that'll allow us to give some pretty cool angles, and then again that replay. So home run, those bottom of the third home runs. Hopefully there's one every game. We'll make sure we get replays of those, and we're excited. This group of seniors and some of the even juniors and stuff, they've embraced what we're doing. So we're excited to get them out and put a little spotlight on them and you guys. So
yeah,
Coach, thank you. I appreciate it.
Before we leave, I just wanted to say shout out to my wife, Haley. She's holding the fort down with 2 kids at home. So I really appreciate you. And
I
love you.
See, here's the thing. I ask all the kids for a shout out, who they want to talk about. And they always go to, I have to dig it out of them and try to get them to talk about their parents and everything. But I didn't even need to do that with you. So you're trained. She's got you. Yeah. She's got you trained. No, excited for you. Congrats on the growing family. And we're glad to have you here in town. So it's going to be a fun year. Awesome. Well,
thank you.
That was Coach Alex Wheeler talking a little bit about coaching and life and his history. And appreciate you tuning into this episode of Jacket Talk. Again, shout out to some amazing folks who make this possible. Heritage Bank of the Ozarks, Missouri Cooperage, and Mercy Hospital Lebanon. These folks believe in what we're doing. So we just ask that if you see them out and about in the community, give them a pat on the back, tell them thank you, and just know that they make all these things possible. So, Coach, thank you.
Thank you.